of the YWCA Greenwich, and thank you all for joining us here today for this kickoff, very important month, Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. As you know, we're the only designated provider of domestic abuse services in the community, and we're the local expert on healthy relationships, so we know how important this month really is. Raising awareness about dating abuse takes the entire community, and we're delighted to have support from First Selectman Fred Camillo and Greenwich Police Chief Jim Heavey. The work that we're doing to support young people would not be possible without the broad support of many important partners like you too, so thank you so much again for all that you're doing. Also with us today is Meredith Gold, the YWCA's Director of Domestic Abuse Services, and Meredith, along with Lexi Anderson, Rosie Enyart, Leslie Copland, are leading the effort to help young people understand the differences between healthy and unhealthy relationships and behaviors, so thank you to that team for all the work that you're doing. Also joining us today are three amazing young women from the Executive Committee of YNET, Elizabeth Kesselow, Anastasia DeMakes, and Jenny Olmstead, and you'll hear from them. The YNET Club at Greenwich High School is a youth-driven violence prevention program that focuses on leadership, peer education, and teen dating violence prevention education. With their advisors, Lexi Anderson from the YW and Rebecca Wilson of Greenwich High School, these teens are making a difference in the lives of students who might not otherwise turn to anyone for help. Dating abuse can happen to anyone, regardless of gender identity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic standing, ethnicity, religion, or culture. It really does live on every street in this community. 1 in 10 high school students report that they've been purposefully hit, slapped, or physically injured by a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And unfortunately, only 1/3 of those teens, 33%, ever told anybody about the abuse. So it's incumbent upon all of us to raise awareness about the signs of abuse and educate young people about the differences between healthy and unhealthy relationships. And that education needs to begin early in life, which is why the YWCA Greenwich is proud to be teaching violence prevention and healthy relationship skills to students as young as kindergarten at the Greenwich Public and Independent Schools. Last year alone, more than 3,500 middle school and high school students participated in presentations by the YWCA on healthy relationships and teen dating violence. So through these programs, we're taking steps to end the cycle of abuse. So again, thank you all for coming, and I want to turn it over to our partner, First Selectman Fred Camillo. Fred.
Thank you, Mary Lee. Good morning to everybody. Just wanted to give the YW a shout out for all the work you're doing on this. It's an issue that, in years past was kind of pushed under the rug because people didn't come forward. There was a stigma attached to it, and as we're seeing now, people are coming forward, which is a good thing. But my hope is that one day we become so far that there would be no need for teen violence and dating violence and prevention month in February or any month. But let's do this. Let's be aware of this every month until there's no need for this month. So with that, I will read a proclamation. Whereas 1 in 3 adolescent girls in the United States is a victim of physical, emotional, and verbal abuse from a dating partner, which far exceeds victimization rates for other types of violence affecting youth. And whereas high school students who experience physical violence in a dating relationship are far more likely to use drugs and alcohol, are at a greater risk of suicide, and are much more likely to carry patterns of abuse into future relationships. And whereas teens who experience dating violence are likely to repeat relationship patterns and therefore also experience abuse as adults. And whereas young people victimized by a dating partner are more likely to engage in risky sexual behavior and unhealthy dating behaviors and have low academic performance and truancy, disrupting normal development of self-esteem and body image. And whereas only 33% of teens who are in abusive relationships ever tell anyone about the abuse, and 81% of parents who are surveyed either believe teen dating violence is not an issue or admit that they do not know that it is one. And whereas the YWCA of Greenwich works to provide young people with education on healthy relationships, and by changing attitudes that support violence, we recognize that dating violence can be prevented. Now, therefore, I, Fred Camillo, First Selectman of the Town of Greenwich, do hereby proclaim February 2020 as Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month in the Town of Greenwich, and urge all in the community to work hard toward ending teen dating violence by empowering young people to develop healthier relationships, assisting victims in assessing information and support services needed, instituting effective intervention and prevention in schools, and engaging in discussions with family members and peers. Again, thank you and congratulations on all your work in this area.
Now we're going to bring up our other partner, Chief Jim Heavey. Thanks, Chief.
So I'll just speak briefly. I think it's really important on the behalf of the police department that we continue to use evidence-based programs, such as all the educational programs that the Domestic Violence Prevention Unit from the YW does in all of the schools, and having YNET as a very good supporter. You guys do things that you don't always get. You won't see the result because someone will be given the strong strength for your program, and it may not be needed here, but when they go off to college or in some other circumstance. And then, of course, having 2 SROs at the high school and liaisons with our special victims section to every school, public and private, represented by Sergeant Reeves and Detective Rondini, who are here, along with their commander, Captain Berry. And then the other thing is that we have to continue to train and inform other adults, parents, and influential adult leaders in the community to recognize the signs of teen dating violence, and also to be good role models to prevent that. So again, we applaud your work, and we couldn't do it without you. What was our number last year? Right.
Last year we were 279.
279 domestic violence incidents, but that's only a small portion of the amount of people that are receiving services from the YWCA. So again, we hope that the number is higher from last year because more people are reporting it, not because there's more incidents. So again, we applaud you for all your work. Thanks.
I'm glad Chief mentioned those numbers. Of course, it's just the tip of the iceberg that reached out to the police. We served 833 unduplicated individuals last year. We got over 3,900 calls or walk-ins at the YWCA last year as well. So, 2 out of every 3 days, actually, someone's walking into the building asking for help. So, again, our partnership with the police, and thank you all for being with us today, it's critical. So now let me introduce Meredith, our Director of Domestic Abuse Services at the YWCA.
Thank you so much for each of you for being here today, and again to First Selectman Camillo and Chief and all the other representatives from GPD. We really appreciate your partnership in this work. So in a few moments, you'll get to hear from some really incredible Greenwich High School students about the work that they're doing to raise awareness and educate their peers about teen dating violence. There's still so much work to be done to reach our young people, to educate them about healthy and unhealthy relationships, and hopefully prevent future incidents of violence. And this is not just an issue, of course, that we know that impacts people when they are young. Our very first dating relationship often sets the tone and the dynamic of our future relationships as adults. And so at Domestic Abuse Services at the YW, when we work with adults who are currently in abusive relationships, many can look back and identify the same controlling and abusive patterns in the relationships that they had when they were young. Which is why it is absolutely critical that we have these conversations as early as possible about relationships. As Mary Lee mentioned, our community education team works with students in Greenwich as early as kindergarten to focus on pro-social behavior and to teach specific healthy relationship skills where they can practice empathy, feelings identification, and conflict negotiation. We continue to reach students through 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, and then again in middle school, all the way up through high school. Our teen dating violence program at Greenwich High School has been a resource in the community since 1996, helping young people navigate their complex relationships and offering support and resources when they need help. But as adults, we play a role too. As children become tweens and then teens, we know that they naturally turn away from the adults in their lives as their peer relationships take center stage. This is a normal and expected part of their brain development and social development, but that doesn't mean that we're off the hook. Our young people still need us, even though they will not admit it all the time. And as they shape their constructs of the world and figure out who they want to be, it's really important that we still stand by them. So just when they're turning away, we actually need to increase our effort to let them know that we are there for them without judgment. One of the strongest protective factors for youth against all kinds of risky behaviors, some of which were read in the proclamation, is to have at least one close relationship with a caring adult other than a parent. That trusting bond between a counselor, teacher, babysitter, coach, or instructor can be the single most important factor in building resilience in young people. And they're watching us. So we need to do our best to show up for them, to model healthy relationships, and it doesn't mean we need to be perfect. And in fact, showing them that we make mistakes too can be really powerful. At the YW, we continue to evolve as the issues facing our youth become more complex. And we're so very proud of our students, these incredible leaders who are committed to raising awareness, educating their peers, and to being a source of support and strength for those who have been impacted by relationship violence. I am truly honored today to introduce this year's Executive Committee of YNET, Elizabeth, Anna, and Jenny. Please join me up today.
Hello everyone, my name is Elizabeth and I'm a junior at Greenwich High School. I'm also an executive committee member of YNET. You may have heard of the term teen dating violence, but let me be clear in defining exactly what it is. Teen dating violence is when a young person uses a pattern of abusive behaviors to get and maintain power and control over a dating partner. It's not only physical. Abuse in a teen relationship can include demanding to see your partner's text messages, pressuring them to quit their after-school job, or regularly throwing in a degrading comment like, "Should you really be eating that?" As mentioned earlier, 1 in 3 adolescents in the US is a victim of physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner. Did you know that this figure far exceeds rates of other types of youth violence? Or that only 33% of teens who are in a violent relationship ever told anyone about the abuse? 81% of parents believe teen dating violence is not an issue, or admit they don't know if it is an issue. These facts are shocking, knowing that so many students at my high school could possibly be affected by teen dating violence, and yet very few of them, including their parents, know about these statistics and their importance. YNET works all year long on educating and raising awareness, but we are especially busy in February. This month, we are here for the second year in a row to kick off Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. We will be selling Valentines with messages about healthy relationships, like "Be mine, just kidding, be your own autonomous person," in the Student Center at school as a way to talk about healthy relationship behaviors with our peers. We're holding an event known as the Empty Desk Day, where we will reserve one desk in each classroom to remain empty with an explanation about why that student is absent today because of an abusive relationship, like Sarah couldn't come to school today because her partner kept her awake texting all night. This is to show how students' attendance and academics may potentially be impacted by violence in their relationship. We're holding a buddy party for child clients of the YWCA's domestic abuse services to be mentored by YNET members, such as us, and we'll be holding a toiletries drive to donate to domestic abuse services shelter clients. We are also looking ahead in March to our first ever International Women's Day event and professional seminar.
Hello everyone, my name is Anna. I'm a junior at Greenwich High School and I'm on the YNET Executive Committee. So you might be wondering, what is YNET? YNET stands for Youth Network. We are a youth-led activism club at GHS, sponsored by the YWCA of Greenwich. Our club has been working to prevent teen dating violence and promote healthy relationships since 1996, when the domestic abuse services at the YWCA began receiving significantly high number of hotline calls from high school students. Our mission has remained the same for 24 years later, and we have grown to to be better able to address more issues facing our peers. This year, we are working on expanding our mission to educate peers on healthy relationships, which encompasses more topics such as LGBTQ-related issues, gender equity, as well as sexual violence and consent, in addition to teen dating violence. All YNET members receive training in leadership and dating violence, enabling us to give one-on-one support to our peers as well as formal and informal peer education. YNET addresses the topic of healthy relationships through three main components: public awareness, volunteer programs, and fundraising. Educating others about healthy relationships is vital because young people between the ages of 16 and 24 are 3 times as likely to be in an abusive relationship. Teaching our peers about the signs and impact of dating abuse and relationship health is pivotal in our goal to prevent teen dating violence. We want our peers, their parents, and the community to know what teen dating violence isn't one partner in the relationship being able to control their anger, but that they're really using manipulation and violence to gain power and control. We want our peers to know that teen dating violence happens even in Greenwich because it can happen to anyone, regardless of gender, race, age, sexuality, or socioeconomic status. Some of you might be thinking that teen relationships aren't serious and they don't mean that much, so what's the big deal? Why can't they just break up? Well, in some ways this is true. Young people don't have to worry about divorcing someone or dividing up bank accounts, but this does not mean that it's easier for a teen relationship to end. Think about how hard it might be to break up with someone that you've seen in school every day. Maybe you ride the same bus, or maybe your parents are friends, or you're in the same friend group. One of the most important things YNET does is to encourage students who might be in unhealthy relationships to reach out for help. YNET members are trained to support our peers and connect them to the professional services of the YWCA. In fact, in 2018, YWCA responded to over 3,700 calls to its hotline, and almost every day someone went directly there seeking help. As we work to expand our mission, we hope that our efforts will continue to educate, assist, and strengthen our community for many years to come.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm also a junior at Greenwich High School, and I'm a member of the executive committee. Before we close, we want to call you all to action. Parents, teachers, coaches, and other caring adults, talk to your teens. Stay in tune with who they're hanging out with and where they're spending their time. If you see or suspect that a teen in your life is in an unhealthy relationship or an abusive relationship, be sure to express your concerns without anger. Concretely say what you've witnessed and what you're concerned about. Like, I've noticed your partner is texting you. Is that okay with you? Listen to your child. If you talk over them, they may shut down. Resist the urge to solve the problem for them, and do not minimize anything your child says. Reserve judgment and do not criticize the abuser, or your child may be quick to defend them. And more importantly, do not criticize your child. Educate your child about healthy relationships and to seek professional support by reaching out to the domestic service at the YWCA. Similarly, students, you have the power to help a friend. Individuals between 16 and 24 are 3 times more likely to be in an abusive or unhealthy relationship. It's very likely that you will know someone going through this. As a friend, you might not realize how much talking or listening means to someone and what a big difference it makes, but it can mean a lot to someone who feels isolated and in an unhealthy relationship. Allow your friends to open up at their own pace and stand by them and be patient, and encourage them to seek help through YNET and the Domestic Abuse Service at the YWCA. One thing you can do right now is tell people what you've heard today. Help to keep teen dating violence in the spotlight in our community. Thank you.
So thank you very much to these 3 really amazing ladies, Elizabeth, Anastasia, and Jenny. Your work at the high school is critical in educating adults and your peers about this very serious public health issue that we have in this community. So during February, YWCA Greenwich and YNET will be raising awareness about teen dating violence prevention through social media, through print, and through activities at the high school through these leaders. But we want to tell you about another event on February 27th. We are partnering with the Junior United Way of Greenwich to hold really a very cool event for students and parents if they'd like to join us. And it's called Speak Up, Speak Out, Celebrating Our Stories with Kane Smago. He's a dynamic, interactive performer. He'll focus on issues of race, gender, community building, and the stories that we all carry. Through spoken word poetry, Kane will take us on a journey to explore the role that our experiences and stories play in developing leadership, community engagement, and building relationships across lines of difference. So we hope you can join us for that. More information, I think, is on some flyers that we have here today, and on our website as well, ywcagreenwich.org. So thank you all for your support this month, and thank you for being here today.